Good morning, America. Hello. Good morning, Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. So today's a good day. Mm-hmm. It's a special day, isn't it, Monica? Mm-hmm. Guess who turns 30? Me! Just kidding, no. 10 years ago, maybe. She does.
Today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How does a new decade feel?
So I think like you're supposed to feel not excited about 30 because they're like, oh god, 30.
Oh god, no.
So minus the fact that my back lately, I think, is breaking. It hurts so bad.
Okay, did you turn 30 or 80?
I don't know, but it hurts so bad.
Why? What'd you do?
I think I just aged.
Yeah. Okay.
Besides that, I'm excited. I'm excited for. I think this is like this weird like. Once you're out of your 20s,
yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Bear with me, but I feel like you're now like you have the permission to just be who you are.
It is
like
so
very
true.
Freeing.
Yeah.
And all those little like sad anxiety things from the 20s, they're gone.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
See you later, Gators. No, I'm with you. I really, honestly, I mean, I just got out of my 30s, unfortunately, but that's okay. I loved my 30s.
Yeah.
I felt like they were my establishing years,
Yes.
where you try things, where you develop things, where you develop yourself. Like you just said, you kind of leave behind the weirdness of kind of the 20s, uncertainties, anxieties, all of that, and you're in a good direction. And yeah, I'm excited to see your next 10 years, man. It's going to be good.
I'm excited too. And I was never the kind of person like, oh, I have to be here at 30. Like
No.
I never thought like that. But it's funny because it's, I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at 30, which is weird.
Love that. But isn't there such a cool feeling to that too?
It's very
feeling like you're not
freeing.
racing something that you don't know where you're going. I'm excited for you, Mon. It's going to be good.
I'm excited. Okay, so today we wanted to...
We didn't tell you what we were going to talk about today. So...
Yeah, we like ahead of time. We didn't tell them.
No, we didn't.
We didn't really.
We may have had an idea later on, a little later than we're.
And I think it's funny because it's something that is like super.
Seems super obvious.
Obvious, but we've never talked about it.
We've never talked about it, so we apologize for not bringing this information to you sooner.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about something called a customer service philosophy.
Yeah.
We're just philosophers on a Monday morning.
We're such deep thinkers. You know how that works. So yeah.
We actually kind of are, and sometimes people like that, and sometimes people don't like that.
Nope.
But anyway, we wanted to chat about customer service. Obviously, this is a business. You all work in different businesses, whether that's customer service based or not. Ours is 130% customer service based, regardless of how you view this. That's at the core what this is all about. But we wanted to kind of break down what that meant to us and what, as a consumer of real estate services, what you should be expecting in these relationships for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what was the first thing that you wanted to touch base on?
Okay, we want to talk about, and actually we were talking about, even before we started getting into this, we talked a little bit about how we all have different expectations when we go to different places, right? You go to a coffee shop, you have certain expectations. You go to a restaurant, you have other expectations. You go to Walmart and you have certain expectations. You already have these built in, but a lot of people don't know what to expect from realtors because it is one of those industries where there's a lot of different levels of service, and so you just don't know. So we want to share with you what both our expectations of the customer service that we deliver, but also what you should expect from your realtor if you're don't have the pleasure of working with us. Just kidding.
No, it's a pleasure. That's how
it's a real delight is what it is.
Pleasure.
Yes, you're welcome. So anyways, the first thing is advocacy. And I think we talk about this quite a bit. And a lot of people, I think it's kind of not lost art, but not very much talked about. So what is advocacy?
Oh gosh, okay.
You're welcome. Drink that coffee. Tell me what advocacy is.
Well, advocacy, I'll tell you how I view it.
Yes.
Okay, so specifically when I'm working in real estate with my clients, my job is to advocate for you in a sense that I'm putting your needs and your
best interest
at the forefront.
Yeah.
And I'm advocating for you when you don't even know. So that's done through research, that's done through conversations with other realtors, that's done with conversations, if I have the pleasure of working with someone on the other side, of working with your mortgage specialist, of making sure that you have a proper home inspector. So that's where, in my mind, when I think about advocacy, it is really the taking care of your needs, and they come first. They come before, the needs of the other realtor. They come before the needs of the seller. Your needs are
your needs. It's true.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's very true.
It's true. Yeah. Because
I think a lot
we understand the gravity of the situation,
and how highly regulated we actually, in fact, are. Like real estate, I think a lot of people don't give enough onus on how much regulation. Like we are under like 5 or 6 different regulatory bodies that and acts and different things like that we want to make sure, one, that we are very compliant with, but as well as we want to make sure you're compliant with, that you understand the process, my big thing with advocacy is I'm very much a justice kind of person. I like balance. I like justice. I like feeling like the little guy is one type thing. So for me, what I think we've brought to Element is that we're here to protect you in a way as best as we can with the resources that we're given. We're here to protect you. We're here to understand you. We're here to understand this is what you're needing, and this is how we're going to match up those needs. And we want to make sure that we're looking out for you. We're trying to see the road ahead for you and try to put in parameters in there to protect you as best as we can. Now, with that being said, and we talked about this as well, that's not always, we can't protect you from everything, obviously, because we're not superhuman, although sometimes we feel like we are, but we're not. So, but what we can do is, from our experience and from our knowledge and from the professionals around us that we can kind of pick their brains on certain things, we can best create a situation for you that hopefully will protect you in the purchase or the sale of your home. And it is a big deal. That's a big transaction for a lot of people, so.
Yeah, and I think so part of that whole protection part is really educating you.
Yes.
So
which is number 2.
Look at that.
Look at you flow right into it. Yep. Very good.
Pointed out.
I like the obvious. I like the joke, like explaining the joke.
Okay, and next we have education.
Checklist.
Anyway.
Education.
Smooth on.
I like my transitions. Go on.
When you talk about educating, like, we don't sit you down in the classroom and we don't like hone in and these are the things and here's a like chart. Like, we don't do that. No. There are a lot of infographics when you work with me, but
and none when you work with me.
But when we're talking about educating you, it's really about educating you in the process. It's about educating you details of the home, vintages of the home, styles of the home, and then on the flip side of that, what can possibly happen, and trying to kind of uncover, unroot some of the issues that arise. And so that's part of the educating process, but also you may not know what's going to actually happen in home inspection because you've never seen that. So we explain that to you ahead of time. You may not know how we view houses. You may not know, if you're on this listing side, how do people view your home. So we're constantly giving you information and educating you. And if I leave a meeting and my clients, they haven't taken away like 2-3 things from our meeting, then that wasn't a good meeting. Right. Because I'm really strong on ensuring that you know all of your options, you know all the possibilities, you know
as best as we can see,
the best of our abilities. And part of educating is, if we don't know something, we educate ourselves to ensure that we get you the proper information. Yeah,
and I think that's a huge component to what you should expect from your realtor. You really should be expecting to know what your options are. Like, nothing drives me crazier than when I pose a problem or a challenge and people are like, I don't know, you're kind of just screwed. Cool, thanks for that. No, give me options. Whether they're good, bad, or ugly, there's always options out there. But I want you to know that from your realtor, you really should be expecting that information, that knowledge, the options being presented to you in a way that you can understand and that's customized to your situation. Yeah. Because I think those are the things that I know for me when I started buying real estate way back 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago.
Houses were cups.
When there was no electricity. Just kidding, I'm not that old, oh my God. But no, I would have appreciated that. I would have appreciated someone giving me options and not making me feel like I had to buy one particular house because they were tired of showing me houses. So,
could you imagine
what?
Like if we did it?
No.
Well, you know what? I think it'd be actually way simpler because there's a lot less to it.
A lot less structure to house. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a hole in it.
There's a hole for your door. Go for it.
Anyway, no, what I wanted to say to that was that maybe what's my train of thought?
Can you imagine?
No, if we decided with our clients that
Yes.
like, you've max 15, we're done. It's that one.
You're buying that one. That's exactly what happened with me in my first house. We had looked at, and don't get me wrong, we had looked at a lot of houses, but the houses were garbage. And then literally this guy was tired of dealing with me and tired of showing me houses because I was buying in a really low price range because obviously it was my first house. And he shoved me into this house, and literally the first rainfall, rivers in my basement. And looking back on it now, it had every red flag imaginable.
Oh.
Every red flag. As a realtor, as soon as I see these things, I'm like, oh no, nope, let's back up the truck, let's get out of here, let's move on.
Right.
Every red flag was in there, and he didn't care. It was really tried, and that is actually what motivates me. I do not want anyone to feel the way that I felt.
No,
in
absolutely.
That first
Absolutely.
So, I mean, those are the best stories, right? That actually give you the right motivation to do the right thing. So, anyways.
And then when you sold it, did you write waterfall feature in the basement?
No, that wasn't the water tapestry was
No.
not in there. No. But we did fix it, and that was pretty.
Ooh, that's so expensive.
Yuppers.
So that all pulls into educating. I think a big one too, educating, is value. People
Yes.
need to know value.
Yeah.
Which includes doing the research and doing the homework and going through the numbers and trying to figure out. You know, it's never perfect, I'll say, but at least get you close enough to say this max number.
Yeah.
You know, I know your plans. I know you're looking to sell within 3-5 years. You can't touch this number because I can't promise that you're going to get it back. We can't promise anything, but we can see the more likely and unlikely situations. So educating, and then that obviously ties into the advising part of that too. So you're educated, you know your options, and then I have a lot of clients say, well, what would you do?
Yeah. Always a dangerous question.
Yeah. And I always say, oh, I don't need to buy a house, so I wouldn't buy it.
You're such a turkey. That's so unhelpful.
It's really not helpful. And then we laugh, and they're like, no, seriously.
Yeah, no, seriously,
Stop
what
with
would you
the
do?
jokes.
And I think in those scenarios, we get asked that all the time. And I think really it comes down to, okay, these are the pros, these are the cons, what makes the most sense for you guys?
Exactly.
You know, we've been through other houses, we've been through the scenarios, we've looked at all the different angles of it. What makes sense for you? And yes, it is scary to make that decision. And yes, it is scary to make a purchase of that type or even sell your house a certain way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're here to advise. We're here on multiple levels to try to play out the movie for you as best as we can. But definitely that is one of the major roles. I would say that's probably our biggest role is the advising role, right? We've educated, we've advocated for you, and now we're presenting your options to you. What would you like to do? And at the end of the day, it's always your choice. And I think that's the biggest thing that you need to be reminded of. Monica and I cannot make the choice for you. We may think it's a great deal or not a great deal. At the end of the day, it's your choice. It's your money. It's your investment. It's your future. So we want you to be as confident as possible to make the right decision, but you do need to make that decision at the end. So.
And the thing that you said about playing out the movie, and she says this a lot, I think I've heard it like maybe 1,000 times in our relationship. But it's true because that leads to the next thing, is because we have the experience. So we have seen how this movie plays out. Yeah. Not identically, but we have seen the flip side of when things go wrong or when things go right. And so that all comes with our collective experience, because obviously we chat on a weekly, daily basis. And so we're quite good at collaborating on these ideas when we are found within these problems and helping each other with solutions. So I say collective experience because we've been, okay, you know what, I've done this and this is how it played out. So we tie into, as a brokerage, we tie into each other's experiences as best as we can, and take what we need from that to help our own clients. Absolutely. So we have some newer agents, and you know, how can they have experience with no actual time? They have our experience. And so we all work very closely to ensure that everyone is learning the same things that we are. If we've learned a hard lesson, we want to pass it on to the other people in this brokerage. before they have to learn a hard lesson.
Absolutely. Well, and I think too, when it comes to that as well too, is we also understand, because we work on the listing side and we work on the purchasing side, we do have a breadth of experience that allows us, even if, let's say, you're a purchaser working with us and you're going to go approach another party and it's a bit of a challenging situation, we have an idea of how that listing agent will perceive it. Why? Because we've been on both sides and we understand how best to structure stuff so that you have the best chance of getting that house. Likewise, on the listing side, because we work with a lot of buyers, we know how buyers are going to think, what they're going to point out. As buyers agents, we know the things that are going to concern us if we were to walk through this house with our buyers. So we can tell you, we can say, hey, seller, you may want to deal with that because that would make me think that there's something wrong with your roof. That would make me think something's wrong with this. Is there something wrong with it? If there is, let's fix it. Right? And so that experience on both sides, having that breadth of experience is invaluable, because then you're already curtailing some of the things that you know are going to be an issue moving forward, and hopefully curtailing it enough that when you deal with the problem and you fix it, and then you can kind of move forward and hopefully have a good transaction, right?
Yeah. So, and we've had some other interesting things where you're like, I think I should just pull up this rug. Oh, that's why it's put here. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that experience has led into many abilities to uncover what we need to for the purpose of educating you.
Yeah.
And then we talked about connections.
Yes, this is a really good one. If you're working with a realtor, you want to make sure that they have connections in lots of different areas. So for example, we rely really heavily on our lawyer friends that are out there that we work with, that we've given business to, because there are situations where we're like, oh, what do we do here? Like, what's the safest way to proceed in this avenue legally? So then we call our lawyer friends up. If we have a basement issue, which is of course the number one thing that most people are concerned about, are basements, we have 3 or 4 basement contractors that we know that we can call up and like, hey, can you come take a look at this? Or and the same thing with electricians, same thing with plumbers, same thing with all these trades, so that if you have a concern, home inspectors, we can rely on those trades, because obviously we have experience with some of those things, but we're not professionals in the plumbing trade, electrician trade, and all of these things. So we want to bring the professionals in, and thankfully we know people. Mm-hmm. We know people who we can call and go, hey, this looks weird, tell me about it. What do we need to know, right? And that is an invaluable tool that your realtor should really have, and if not, be developing for sure. So.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other one, when we talk about connections, we wanted to talk about the connections that we have with other realtors.
Yeah.
I think this is really important. I think some realtors can maybe be viewed as like a bulldog, and that's great because you know
they get you the best deal for sure. Yeah.
The challenge with that though is they do. Not always, but there is a name that's built around that too, and there's a reputation that's built around that. And we focus really quite intentionally on building building really positive relationships with other realtors and fostering those connections, so that when they see our name come through on an offer, or when they see their name come through on a listing, they know that their client is going to, chances are, have a great experience.
And it's going to be win-win.
That's where we're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
It's not someone getting, screwed over.
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk about the fact that, it should be a win-lose, it should be this. I don't honestly believe that. Mm-hmm. I don't honestly believe, especially when you're transacting real estate, it should be a win-win. A buyer wants to buy a house, a seller wants to sell a house. There's a win-win there, and I don't ever feel like there should be an opportunity where you take someone because you can, or there, you know what I mean? And so I think when we're working with other realtors, I always tell people who want to sign up with Element, I would say my biggest thing is when people see that there's Element is in that transaction, that they know it's going to be a good deal. Yeah. And by that I mean that they know that they're going to be treated fairly, that they're going to be treated with respect, that we're going to be professional, and that we're going to get the job done, and we're going to do everything we can for our client to ensure the best outcome. So, and I think there's something to be said for that in the industry.
And you made a comment too, because oftentimes these deals can go wayward.
They go sideways all the time. And
so it's really important as the professionals in the industry that we keep a level head, and that we collaborate, and that we work together to find the solutions for both of our clients to ensure that it is a happy transaction in the end. Because, it can get pretty muddy out there, but we do our best to ensure that at least our relationships with other realtors are established to help you, our client.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is really important. You have a great realtor that's working for you because you want a realtor that has a great name out there, because then you know there's never going to be an issue in that regard. So the next one is empathy, compassion, and support. I think this is probably one of the biggest parts of our job and why we do what we do, is that we feel for our clients. We're invested in our clients both financially, we're invested in our clients both professionally as well as emotionally.
Yeah.
We know that this is not a small transaction. And yes, when we work with investors, it's a little bit different because obviously they think a little bit differently. But I think it's really important to say that, like, I care about the families we're working with. I care about the couples that we're working with. Nothing breaks my heart more than when a couple, you know, buys a house and that house is garbage and they have a terrible experience. Like nothing. It's heartbreaking. It really is, because you know what it's going to take to get them out of that. So having a realtor that understands that and is truly compassionate to your situation is important. Now, obviously, I can't be a bleeding heart, but sometimes I
we both are.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It is what it is. But there is something to be said for compassion and empathy, understanding your situation, understanding where you're at, and trying to create the problem, or trying to create solutions that are truly going to benefit you, is a huge component to what we do.
I fully agree with that. And like you said, like, I've had clients that have said, you know what, should we buy this house? And I've said, I care so much about your family and your kids. I don't feel comfortable putting you and your family in this house. Yeah, would I get paid? Yeah.
Sure.
Still would. But I don't feel comfortable knowing that I've put you in that situation and for your family. And just, I don't sleep at night when things like that happen.
Oh my God.
So we do take a lot on, and it is a little bit difficult to separate that. And the only reason we take it on is because we genuinely care about the outcome for you.
We do. Yeah, it's true. Not saying every realtor will be like that. Some will, some won't. It's your choice.
And that's, and you know what? I think
some people don't like that.
Exactly.
Some people don't want you to care that much.
We attract people who that goes somewhere with them, and the people who are like, no, I just want the numbers. I don't want any of this extra.
That's also probably why, like, I will honestly say, I truly love working with my clients. Like, I will say there's very small percentage of people that I'm like, meh. But most of the time, like, I authentically love seeing them at our Christmas parties, authentically love giving them a loaf at Thanksgiving, authentically am super excited to hear where they're at. Like, it honestly, it makes this business so much more pleasurable knowing you're working with people that you care about and that you want to see successful. So.
No, I agree. Like, it makes this easier, a lot easier.
For sure.
Okay, you have something about this devil's advocate.
So back to the advocacy. We want to be, no, just joking. So devil's advocate. I think what this means is basically we want to look at it from a different perspective. So when we're entering any situation, because we understand both the buyer and the listing side, when you say, hey, I really want to buy this house for $100,000 under ask. Cool. Not saying it's not possible, but we need to look at how that offer will be presented on the other side and how best to present that in a way. No, I'm not saying please don't come to us saying we want to buy houses for $100,000 under ask, but there are different situations where that we have to be finessed, and we have to play both sides of the table there in giving you a perspective and helping educate you so that you understand. Great, you want this house for this amount of money, but what's the best way to get us there? That we will that'll get you the closest to actually achieving that goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the perspective side of things, and we can see because we've been on both sides. The other thing I will say is the devil's advocate thing. When I come up with clients is, I've been in situations where it's like, okay, we can buy this house, but that means that we can't have this family vacation next year. And so I'm the devil's advocate because I'm going, so can we really think about that? Is that actually truly worth it? So I have those kinds of conversations too, in the sense of like
bringing back to perspective, right?
Exactly.
We've heard what you're saying. We're listening to what you're saying. So when a situation comes up where it would actually put you in an uncomfortable situation or go against what you've been telling us, we'll gently bring that up as a reminder. Hey, we remember you said that you really want to do this, but if we buy this house, you may not be able to do that. Are you okay with that? Again, your choice, always. But again, we're here to kind of be that friendly reminder, like, hey, this was your objective. This kind of strays away from that. Are you cool with that? And make sure that because it can be overwhelming. So yeah, definitely. maybe we'll just go to customization. I think this is the big one. Kind of like with anything, when you talk to your mortgage specialist, when you talk to your lawyer, when you talk to anyone, you are a custom situation. You are a unique situation. Your situation may be similar to somebody else's, but never identical. So if you have a realtor who's not listening to what you are actually saying and wanting to do, that's a cautionary note. That's a cautionary tale. You want someone who's truly listening to your situation and coming up with solutions that are strategic and customized to you and what your family is needing.
Yeah, and I think that you had said something earlier this morning, that you had said some realtors have like a one-half-fits-all program.
Yeah.
And that I think is limiting because, like you said, no two stories are the same, no two houses are the same, no two buyers are the same. So it is about learning what's important to you, learning your financial situations to a degree, and just knowing your comfortability and knowing what we can do, what we can push on, what we can't push on, and helping to ensure that at the end of the day you feel like your personal needs were met because they were heard.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So yeah, definitely. I want to. That's one I think is really important to me. Is I always want my clients to feel heard, always feel understood. So we're wrapping up now. So
our off-screen producer has said,
yes, she is giving me signals that I don't understand. So I'm like, what are you saying to me?
I don't think it was either that or she was gonna fly away.
I could never be a Navy SEAL. You know how they have all those like cool little hand like I would be like, what do you want me to do? I don't understand. Like, say it to me. Yeah, I'm not good with that.
Very covert.
Very covert. We'll get better at that over time.
Doubtful. That's doubtful.
This was a long one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully you got something out of it.
I had to get that off our chest.
I had to just roll that off our tongue. So you're welcome. Anywho, have a great week. Thank you for joining us. If you ever have questions, anything you want to learn,
don't say it. Just get a hold of us.
You know, one of our socials.
You know how.
You know. Anyways, have a good week, you guys. Thanks. Bye. Should I have said bye, Felicia?
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.